Hi guys, a little bit later than I thought because I did want to do this one last week, but time kind of ran away with me. So, bit of an update really, what's been going on with me this week before we go into the talk about long-term illness, long-term injury and how you can help yourself. Well, busy week at work last week. As a lot of you know, I was also in a bit of a BPD and fibro funk. Still in it. Attacked my arms with a razor Monday again, which I'm not proud of. It's just a case of digging in now and hanging on. I'm waiting for a assessment from the mental health team. Once we've done that, hopefully we'll get my medication twisted around a bit. Then I'll be put on the waiting list for DBT, which, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it because I'd rather stick pins in my eyes, quite frankly, than do talking therapies. It's great yapping away to you lot, but it's very different when you're talking about, you know, your deepest, darkest secrets, isn't it? But if it's going to help and put the lid on this rather than a sticking plaster over a catastrophic bleed, then I'm happy. So what else has been going on? Sunday, my first at Burfield, the amazing girls come back from 3-1 down to win 4-3. Absolutely cracking game. As a reserves, didn't have a game I mooched up to watch. It was nice to see quite a few of the reserve players and also our gaffer there, giving the first team a cheer because we are one club. We might be slightly dysfunctional as a family at times, but yeah, and as one of the girls said, they've been trying to get me adopted and haven't managed it yet. Yeah, my parents tried to get rid of me for 40 odd years. They didn't manage it either, so yeah. Anyway, I'm sitting in the car outside the office at the moment because my boss is doing a podcast for, I think it's British Forces Broadcasting. And last time he did one, all you could hear was me gobbing in the background, answering phones and talking to candidates. So I've been politely asked to come and sit in the car for half hour. So sorry guys, you're going to get me waffling at you. Right, long-term injury, long-term illness and how you can help yourself. Well, over the 37 years and more playing, as well as in life in general, I've broken myself more times than I can count. I mean, you know, my right knee's shot, my left knee's starting to join it, my left ankle's knackered. Doesn't help that I've had two accidents that have torn ligaments in it. One was acceptable because it was when I was in my 20s and drinking, and I fell down from cast iron steps to my flat. In my defence, I did play the next day. Yeah, and then earlier this year, I fell off the sofa at home, tore the same ligaments. So I wouldn't mind if it was something glamorous like getting walloped in a tackle or, you know, something like that. But falling off a sofa. And it took me 4.5 months, I think, recovery time. So yeah, like most footballers, I've got knackered knees, unfortunately. I've also got a dirty, great big tequila scar on one of them. Yeah, those of you that know me in person know the story behind the tequila scar. Basically, drank too much tequila, tripped over a log, sliced my leg open. Was too chicken to go and get it looked at for about 3 days. So the stitches kept bursting once they'd actually done it. As well as the well-documented fibromyalgia, broken brain, and the heart condition. And yeah, I know, but it is what it is. I've given up everything else. I don't drink these days, or very rarely. I don't eat quite as much rubbish as I used to, so you can't expect me to give up everything, can you? Come on. Right, long-term injury and illness. Let's talk about that. Let's go with injury first. It's a bit of a gutter when you end up injured, and it can be a lonely time. You know, support is probably the most important thing, whether you're a footballer or you play any sport, or you know, you don't, and it's a work and friends thing, support's really important. Not being left out of things. You know, if people check in with you. It's such an important thing to do. I mean, years ago, a really good friend of mine, this is when I was in my 20s, had her knee dislocated in a game. And she's probably watching this thinking, yeah, thanks for that. I can't remember how long she was out for, but it was ages. And all that time, not a single welfare call from the club, not any parties or anything that went on, she wasn't invited to. And I mean, I feel pretty guilty about it because this is one of my best mates. I've known her since before we signed for the club. I've known her since high school. And yeah, it was only when my mum bumped into her and bollocked me for not even checking in that I thought, oh yeah, I could have done a bit more there. So, and when I did invite her round and we were talking, you know, she said that she felt really abandoned by the club and left out the loop, that no one gave us stuff, and that taught me a lesson, really. That was when I sat there thinking, well, yeah, that bit of contact, that bit of we're still thinking about you, you know, you're still part of the team. It is important. It really is, and it's the same with the rest of your life. You know, if you're ill, well, I don't mean a cold, but you know, if someone, the big one at the moment, COVID. If someone's got COVID and they're off work, you know, they can't come out, it takes 2 minutes to send it. Well, not even that. 30 seconds to send a text just to say, how you doing, mate? Do you need anything? Here if you want to talk. It's not like years ago when we had to make the big effort of picking the phone up. You know, 30 seconds now and that's it. You've sent a message, that person's going to read it and think, oh, they are still thinking about me. And it makes them feel better. You know, it doesn't take a lot to do it, guys. I mean, Burfield, we're lucky. Every time someone's had a long-term injury, we've always done like a chip-in present thing. Gone out for a meal or whatever to give them their little morale box. They are quite personalised down to the person. So, I mean, what one person gets isn't going to be what the other person wants. So you know. And everyone's pretty good at messaging and saying, you okay, mate, do you need anything? And that's what it is. It's buddies, isn't it? It's, you know, it's buddy checks. Are you all right? Is there anything I can do? It doesn't take 2 minutes. You know, if you know someone's about to go and have an op, for whatever reason, a quick message day before surgery. It doesn't take anything. One of the best things about, well, not the best thing, but one of the things that really impressed me when I had my heart attack, I was lying in St George's. Even when I came out of coma, there was my then other half and two, I think, of my best mates standing out there wanting to see me. You know, as soon as the girls walked in and started the bantering, although I wasn't really with it. As soon as the girls walked in and the banter started, that was it. You know, I felt a fair bit better. Not better, because I was lying flat in HDU with Christ knows what running through my body. But yeah, it really lifted me 100%. And then for the 10 days I was in hospital afterwards, you know, loads of people were coming in to see me, some that I hadn't seen for years. You know, one of my oldest friends turned up all the way from Southampton, and I lived in South London at the time. 2 days on bounce. You know, she made the drive to come up and see me. One of the girls I went to school with, we weren't incredibly close at school. You know, but I was lying there, I think I was just lying there bored, maybe trying to read, and she come bouncing in to see me, and you know, it meant the world to me. And it does. If someone's out of action for whatever reason, just that little bit of support will mean the world to them. Don't let people start feeling alienated. Don't start letting them feel like they're left out the loop, that, you know, they're not running 100% all cylinder, so they don't matter. That's, you know, I mean, when this last BPD blip started, I was incredibly lucky. My missus spoke to my boss and explained what had happened, and she asked if they'd be okay with me working from home for a week or so, just to reset my head, get me back on track a little bit. Not only did they agree to that, and they said, well, you know, we'll continue monitoring it and we'll see how you do, but everyone was checking in with me, you know, and that made me feel so much better. You know, I knew that not only were they my colleagues, but they care. And, you know, again, 1000%, absolute morale booster. What can you do to help yourself if you're out injured or with illness? Well, the first thing you can do is you can try, hard though it is, to stay positive. You know, all the time after my heart attack, it was a case of, yeah, a few months I was really depressed, and I was like, oh my God, my life's over. I can't go out anymore. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't live off kebabs. I've got to give up smoking. And then I've got to start having a healthy diet, stuff I can't eat anymore. And then after a while I went, well, do you know what? Is it really going to be that difficult to, you know, try and cut some of my really unhealthy habits out? It took me a while to get back into exercise because I was petrified every time I felt my pulse raise a bit. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have another heart attack. You know, with the fibro, that makes it even more difficult because, as you all know, there's days I can barely move. But, you know, positive attitude meant, you know, slowly but surely, I was getting myself back. Start with, I was doing some football coaching. I went and got my level 1. And I worked with an under-11s team. But I found I was kicking every ball with them. So I thought, I ain't ready to quit yet. Not a chance. And here we are. As you know, my hashtag on social media is the disabled footballer. I've had my rant about how I can be disabled and still boot a ball about. Fibromyalgia is what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of days I can't walk. There's a lot of days I'm on a stick. There's a lot of days I'm in a chair. But there's also days I can lead something like a normal life. So yeah, you can do that. You can try and keep yourself positive. How you do it's down to you. I mean, a lot of people go on about mindfulness. That's all bollocks. Do what you need to do to keep positive. Read. If keeping positive means 3 hours a night on the phone to your best mate, fucking hell, do it. You know, it's not difficult. You can listen to the experts. You know, doctors, physios, nurses, they study for a few years to get to where they are. It's work. I mean, obviously people that have been through the same thing, you know, like me, might have a few pointers. But just because it's worked for them doesn't necessarily mean it's worked for you. So, you know, listen to if the doctors say, right, you need to build this up slowly, build it up slowly. You know, don't come out from an ankle injury, as an example, don't come out from breaking your ankle and go, I'm going back on the pitch now. Because one hit, and that's going to be you knackered, isn't it, again? You know, build it up slowly. Just do some gentle non-contact stuff, a little bit of running, build it up, then go from there. A lot of the time, if you are a footballer or you play rugby or a physical sport like that, a lot of the time your coaches are going to know. So work with them, not against them. When I did my ankle last season, I worked really closely with our coach, and I said to him, okay, well look, I feel like I'm ready to come back to training. So I did. But we both knew I was no way ready to go back playing. You know, my ankle was barely holding up to passing the ball, let alone, you know. So, listen to the experts. I mean, I had to have a very long sit down with cardio nurses and cardiologists before I was let out of hospital about what to do, how to do it, building it up slowly. I had to do a cardio rehab program, which was very gentle and really quite boring, but I had to do it. And, you know, from there we could monitor what was going on, how much of the heart was actually damaged, you know, just support what the ultrasounds were saying. And yeah, so work with the professionals, listen to what they say, take their advice, build it up slowly. Look at your diet. I mean, I'm the worst person in the world for this one because I love nothing more than a cheeky doner kebab, but sometimes diet is important. If you're not getting the right things into your body, then, you know, it's like trying to put water in a petrol tank and expecting it to get you to Edinburgh from John O'Groats or from Land's End. It's not going to happen, is it? You need to fuel yourself properly. I don't mean go off and jump on the latest diet trend, be it Herbalife or whatever, because yeah, been there, done that. Just be a bit sensible, you know, balanced diet. And that's not to quote Shane Warne, a cheeseburger in each hand. Just, you know, be a little bit sensible about what you're eating. Look after your mental health, keep your positivity there. Do as much as you can do. Don't push yourself too far too fast. Be realistic in your targets. There's, you know, like I say, lean on your friends. And guys, if you've got a mate that's like long-term ill or whatever, or got a long-term injury, reach out, keep in touch. If you're all going on a night out, invite them. Even if they can't make it, they'll appreciate the invitation. If you're having a get-together, invite them. You know, there's nothing... I'm going to talk about it from a footballer's point of view. Alright? There is nothing worse than being out injured. And sometimes it's a difficult balance, because if you go to games or you go to training, you get frustrated and it doesn't help your mental health. But you do see your teammates. So, me, personally, can't do it. It drives me nuts. But there's nothing worse if you're out injured than not hearing from anyone. Not having the manager or the coaches check in on their broken soldier to see how you're doing. Not hearing from your teammates. People having a night out. People doing, I don't know, whatever, and not inviting you. You start feeling alienated. You start feeling paranoid. You start feeling like you're not part of the team anymore. It's the same with work. You know, you start feeling alienated. You start thinking, well, am I going to lose my job here? And it doesn't help your recovery. It just doesn't help anything. So, you know, like I say, yes, you've got to be realistic. You know, you can't come back from a broken leg within 2 minutes. But, you know, you can work, have some targets, and it can happen. I mean, sometimes you might find it's not going to happen in quite the same way. You know, you might find that it's going to be a longer term thing, or it might be a little bit of permanent damage. So you may not go back to quite the same level as you were playing at, but you can go back. You can get back into the game. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, not so much now because of the advances in science, but years ago, you used to get a lot of players get injured. They'd be playing at a high level, they'd lose that yard, half a yard of pace, and that could be them finished as a top draw player. But you know, they could drop down the divisions and they could still play. Yep, earning potential wasn't there. Yep, the sponsorships wasn't there. Yep, the glamorous lifestyle wasn't there. what glamour there was in the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s. But they were still playing. And that in itself was an achievement. Coming back from something like, I don't know, let's have an example, say a cruciate injury. Because that always used to be the one that's knackered more players than I can think of. You look at the late Brian Clough, prolific striker, amazing player, cruciate, bang, gone. Made a comeback, it lasted, I think, about a season, if that. But he found a way to stay in the game as a manager. From books that I've read and the anecdotes, you know, I've heard over the years, radio interviews, he still knew where the back of the net was. He just couldn't play. So, management. Yeah, that's why I did my coaching badge, because I didn't know if I'd be able to get back on the pitch again. So, no, I wanted to stay involved in football in some capacity or another. And yeah, I mean, the plan now, hopefully, is my UEFA C, which is the old FA Level 2. I want to do my disabled modules. I think that's going to be my way forward, coaching disabled players. Yeah, potentially working with adult teams as well. But I'm digressing a little bit here, aren't I? My point was, you know, yeah, you might not go back into the same level. You might even have to change positions. But, you know, there's every chance you can make a comeback. And there's been a couple of players I've spoken to since I got back into the game, or back involved with the game, that have had long injury problems, or that, in one case, a player that had a heart attack. And, you know, we've had a chat. I've given them a few tips that help me about positivity, changing your diet, just keeping in your mind I can and I will, not I can't and I won't. And hopefully it's helped. I mean, yeah, sometimes I'm the biggest whinger in the world. We all know this. You know, I spent half my life whinging about, oh my God, my fibromyalgia, or oh my God, my brain's broken. But in the back of my mind, there's always that positivity. There has to be. You know, if I let any of these conditions take over, I've lost. I've not lost the game. I've lost the season. I've lost the entire battle. I've lost the war. So the positivity is the important bit. The listening to and working with the professionals is the important bit. You know, for people that don't have the injury or the illness issue, but know people that are, whether it's through a sports team, whether it's through work, whether it's through friendship group, believe me, a quick text, a quick phone call, an invitation to, I don't know, even if it's just going out for lunch or going for a quick beer or going to watch just even if it's just, oh, you know, a few of us are going to go and watch England game Saturday, do you want to come? There's something like that. Just make people feel involved, make people feel wanted, make them know that, let them know that you're still thinking about them. Yeah, something like that. It really can make all the difference. So that's, I think, going to be me, because it's probably end of the podcast time. This is Sue, the disabled footballer, from the front seat of my car, outside my office, as usual, completely off the cuff and unprepared. Just trying to be calm and, I don't know, partly waffling. This is actually getting quite cathartic and therapeutic doing this. So, yeah, I'm going to leave you guys there. Enjoy the rest of your day. This probably won't be uploaded till later, by the way, because otherwise it'll just batter my battery. But yeah, that's it. That's all you got to do, is just stay positive, stay focused, and you know, you'll find there's a way back. You'll find that there is a way to recovery. It may take some time. It may be frustrating, but it's doable. Trust me. I'm walking talking proof of that. If you'd said to me at the beginning of December in 2014, just after my heart attack, by 2022, you're still going to have the aftermath of it. It's still going to be there. It's not going to go away. But you're going to be in a better place physically and mentally than you thought you were. Wouldn't have believed you. Would not have believed you at all, because I didn't want to do anything. I was petrified. And now look, you know, yeah, the old Sue's never going to be completely back. There's always going to be bad days. There's always going to be worse days. There's always going to be even worse days. But there's also going to be good days. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Embrace the good days and keep going and keep going and keep going until you're back to being the best that you can be. That's the end of end of the lesson, so to speak. Have a good day, people, and I'll think of something else to bore you with very soon. This is a disabled footballer signing off.